All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new head, what's up? If you're old head, hello famo. Let's go and get into the video. So today's video is on before and after godly relationships. I'm here with Bishop Dr. Carter, and he'll be here to answer a couple of questions that you guys have asked me on my channel about relationships. So how are you doing today?
Doing well, Victoria.
That's
doing
good.
Absolutely
That's good.
Wonderful.
So before we get into this video, we're dividing this video into 3 sections. So you guys' questions have fallen into relationships, as in dating or courting. Number 2, it's either engaged, and then 3, married. So the very first question is, can you give us some of your educational background?
Well, I received my bachelor's degree in social studies education in 1985 and a minor in history. I graduated and received a full fellowship to the Ohio State University and earned my master's degree in public administration with an emphasis on public policy. I then have a counseling degree and was a counselor in the school district in private schools. Earned a second master's degree from the Longwood University in education supervision, and then earned a doctorate degree from the University of Virginia in education leadership. And so that's spanned nearly 38 years.
Wow. That's something I inspired to have one day. So let's get into our first question. So our first question is, can you give us some things to consider before you start dating?
Well, one of the major issues is, Shakespeare said, "To thy own self be true." Oftentimes, people get into relationships and they are not whole themselves. And so people are looking for people that will make them whole. The first ingredient to any relationship is not really getting to know the other person. It's getting to know you. And that oftentimes we have what are called idiosyncrasies. There are issues, things in our life that make us interesting, bizarre, rare, or just not balanced. And so the first piece is getting to know yourself. One of the things I encourage people to do when they're getting to know themselves is to take something on the World Wide Web called the 16 personality test. And it begins to tell you what your strengths and your weaknesses and your propensities. Are you a leader? Are you a follower? Are you a protector? Are you a guider? Do you bring people together? Are you a person that lives and thrives off of other people? Or are you a loner? And so getting to know yourself is the first thing. The second piece is, Minnie Riperton sung a song, Back Down Memory Lane. which means many things that we are attributed to our childhood. So our personality, character are shaped by our family. Knowing your family background, how much a mother, father, mentors have influenced your life, and knowing your likes and dislikes. For young men and young women, I always tell them, relationship up. Don't be involved in relationships that are going to lower your standards or cause you to do or say or be things that are beneath what you believe would be normal. It's always to have relationships with people that are going to lift you up, encourage you, influence you to become a better person. But when you go into relationships not as a whole person, there's a chance that you're going to be disappointed.
Wow. So due to this age and era, do you agree with today's society of normality of online dating? Or do you prefer for people to go back to face-to-face social interaction?
Good question. It's a combination. We're in a different age. And as a counselor, as a professor, as a pastor, it's learning the sociogenics of each generation. My generation is different from your generation. And my generation is different from my parents. My parents were born in what was called the silent generation. And they were taught, do as I say, not as I do. And if I want your opinion, I'll ask you. You are to be seen and not heard. Baby boomers are the rebellious generation. And so it is during the late 40s, 50s, and mid 60s where America had some major issues in its country, in its nation. The Vietnam conflict, civil rights, South against the North, economy. We found ourselves intrigued and wrapped into the Middle East and Israel-Palestine issues. And so my generation rebelled. The millennial generation really opened the door to social platforms. When I went to college in the early 80s, it was the introduction of computers. And I can recall the first time working with a individual computer, CPU, was my freshman year in college. But not everyone had a computer. Matter of fact, it was just a set of computers in a computer lab. And we learned languages, but we really did not communicate. It was to abstract information. Millennials just blew the door off of that because it's during their time that we really have the introduction of cell phones, personal computers, not computers at work or computers at school, but now computers at home. And then there was a merge of computers and communication, and we get the cell phone. And so you have people communicating a different way. Is it more effective? I don't know. But I believe cell phone or technology gives people a way of communicating that they've not communicated with before. So, and the generation you're in, XYZ, I mean, definitely 100% infiltrated of smart everything, smart watches, smart braces, smart glasses, smart phones, smart televisions. And now with the XYZ generation and the ABC generation are those who have not been born, who are yet to be born to 7 years old. And how they are communicating is so different than the way I communicate. It's just unbelievable how they are connected. And so it's really learning how to communicate. I do like face-to-face. The challenges are even face-to-face. You don't always see, or you don't always get what you see, even talking with people. And now with electronic devices, you can see people, talk to them, you can see their expressions. But again, it goes back to what Shakespeare said, till our own self be true. Learning how you communicate. So I think a combination of face-to-face, interpersonal skills, and social platform, it's appropriate. Datelines, not for me, but for your generation, it could be very appropriate.
Wow. So another question that was asked was, how do you know when your relationship is over and it's time to move forward? What are the signs?
When loving you is hurting me. When I am giving all and the other person is not giving any. When I have to change my personality, my individual standards to meet the qualifications of that person. When that person's responses to tension is verbal bantering, arguing, belittling, name calling, to the level of physical abuse. When loving you hurts me and breaks me, then it's time to get out of that relationship. No relationship is 50-50. Never found any relationship that's 50-50 at any given time. Sometimes it's 60-40, maybe I'm giving 60 and the person in the relationship is giving 40. Sometimes that person is giving 80% and all I can give is 20%. And so it's being able to negotiate. But if you've got to give all and that person isn't giving any, then someone is taking advantage of you.
So for this last section for dating and courting, the question is, what is your encouragement to those who are single, looking, and discouraged?
First of all, going back to the first premise, knowing who you are. You have to know who you are, and you have to be okay with yourself. There's a theorem called the Glassner theorem, which states there are 4 windows by which we look out of. I'm okay, you're okay. I'm okay, but you're not okay. I'm not okay, but you're okay. And the last window, we're both not okay. And you want to be in that Glassner theorem in I'm okay, you're okay, which makes us okay. And the most piece, the integral piece is communication. Love is great, but love doesn't make the relationship. It's how you communicate. Do you have some common threads? You have to find someone who has some commonalities, not so much like you, but someone that complements you, not make you whole, but accentuates who you are, and they accentuate or enlight who you are. And that takes lots of conversations. I'm always weary of relationships that start too quick and end up in marriage and then find out I really didn't know this person because the two people didn't take time to communicate. And so the communication is important. And then those that are discouraged, just wait. There's somebody out there for you. And it's better to wait than to jump off the diving board and not ready for relationships.
Wow. So I'm going to add in my own question here is, how long do you suggest that someone dates before even thinking to become engaged?
There's no magic answer. No magic answer. My background and training in counseling and with education would give me insight, what is called human growth and development. Very essential class. And it's learning how people mature from a zygote, embryo, to 100 years old. People develop and mature at different ages and different times. And some people can communicate and have a relationship for a year, 2 years. Some may take 4 years. It is not, though, until persons can agree to, this is how we want our life to be. It's how we're going to raise children. This is the economy of scales, or this is going to be our lifestyle. Are we going to be movers, or are we just going to stay put? Are we going to have 10 children, or are we not going to have any children? Are we going to have a dog, or is it going to be a cat, or is it going to be both? Are we going to live in a multi-structure, or a rancher? Are we going to live in the city, in rural setting, or suburban? All of those things should be discussed before one says, I do. What are going to be the rules of engagement? Because people are going to disagree. The relationship doesn't mature without some disagreement. So what are the rules of engagement if you get in a disagreement or argument? How do you do that? How do you work out if I'm in a bad mood and you push my buttons and I push your buttons, and how do you stop that? You don't wait until you get married to make those rules for your relationship. They start in the premarital. Some people can talk and communicate quickly and they're ready for marriage. Some cannot. Some are economically ready for marriage and some are not. Some are educationally ready and some are not. My wife and I were married in our early 20s, 21, 22. And we got married in grad school, before we went to grad school. Actually, the year, just a few months after graduation from undergrad, we got married and went through college married. But we were ready because we had spent 4 years in relationships.
What a wonderful interview with Dr. Carter today. Today's title was Before and After I Do Godly Relationships, Part 1, Dating. Now, the second part will be engaged, and you guys do not want to miss that insightful interview with Dr. Carter. So go ahead and subscribe, turn on those notification bells, because you don't want to miss the next interview coming right around the corner.